Karuna Sagara. Name is Karuna Sagar. Karuna Sagar is a word you have heard so many times. Is an ocean of compassion, mercy, kindness, Karuna. This word in Sanskrit is so sweet. Karuna word. We have also got name rhyming with that. Taruna and Varuna. Aruna. There is Karuna. Compassion. And he's Sagar. Sagar means an ocean. Ocean of compassion. So, that we hear all the time, but you have to really see that. And those who have come in contact with a Mahatma, you will see that thing. Oh, amazing. And sometimes we mistake what is compassion. We have to be very careful about compassion also. When Bhagwan is removing Ravan, Bhagwan is removing Ravan out of compassion only. Because if he allows this jiva to stay in this body any longer, that jiva will go on doing more and more pap, isn't it? So if he does more pap, that's good for his karma? Not good for that jiva, no, more and more pap he'll do. So Lord sometimes you have to remove that person out of compassion also. Compassion, you don't imagine it to be what you ordinarily think it is. Because when people are, if Ram has so much compassion, why he has to kill this one? If Krishna has so much compassion, why he has to remove that one? He has compassion, why he tells Arjuna, go and remove the Kauravas? You don't understand compassion. See, let me tell you something. The Lord always does what is best for us. For us. What is best for us, you may not think it is best for you. But who knows better? You are the Lord. The Lord is omniscient. He is Sarvagnya. All-knowing. You may think that this is good for you and this is good for you and that is good for you. Bhagavan knows that is not good. I see that all the time. All the time. Then Prabhu knows, so you're trying to do this, you're trying to get there, you're trying to achieve the other thing. And Bhagavan knows that thing is not good. Narad gone and tell Bhagavan, he said, I want to look like Hari. I want to look like Hari. Hari is Bhagavan, is the most handsome being in the universe. So Narad gone and said, I want to look like Hari. And the last line of Narad, we see that in Ramayana, Narad said, Prabhu, you do which is best for me. Narad thinking, if he look like Hari, that is best for him. Right? But Bhagavan knows something else is best for him. Bhagavan gave him make him look like a monkey. Because in Sanskrit the word Hari also means monkey. Hari also means frog. And monkey and different things. So Bhagavan make him look like a monkey. What happened? He wanted to marry a princess. When he gone there now and the princess see this monkey. She said, Chee! Where monkey come from? He line up there with all them other princes, And the princess coming down the line with the mala. Jai mala. So Narad thinking he looking like Hari. So she coming down. He waiting while she go put it on my neck. Who next she will put it on? I'm like Hari only. I'm looking like Bhagavan himself. He thinks. When she reached by this Narad now, she sees this monkey stand up there. She speed off from there. The two fellows who stand up next to Narad, they lose a chance too. She went down here. She reached so far. So, Bhagavan made him look for his own benefit. And in the end, that whole thing taught Narad such a great lesson. It's an amazing story comes out in Balkand of Ramayana. So we may think, and then the Lord does that out of compassion. That may look funny, that may look jokey, that may look sad, and you may get mad and feel bad, but whatever. Bhagwan does that thing out of compassion. That is for our good. In Hindi, there's a kahavat which says, Jo hua, so acha hua. Whatever has happened for the best. Jo ho raha hai, wo bhi acha ho raha hai. Whatever is going on, that is also happening for the best. Jo hoga, wo bhi acha hoga. Whatever will happen in future, that also will happen for the best. Because Bhagwan knows best, and what he does, that is the correct. You may quarrel with him, that is your problem. You may quarrel with Bhagwan and feel that what he is doing is not right and this and that. But he knows. So, that is because he only can act, he has no choice but to act from compassion. What else will be exuded from the sun beside light? Well, can the sun ever exude darkness? So the Lord is like, can he ever exude anything but compassion? In the same way, saints, Mahatmas and all who have realized their oneness with Bhagwan, what they will exude? Only compassion. And so, Karuna Sagara, that's how he gets the name. He's an ocean of compassion, our Guru. And I had the fortune of seeing that thing at work. It's an amazing thing. Once we were sitting in one of his signatures, I was sitting right there in front. Some president of the mission in Mumbai came up on the stage, did the announcement. Gurudev was already sitting on his seat, ready to, just like how just now Nikhil was doing announcements and whatever. Right? The president did all what he is supposed to do. Then at the end of his speech now, he said, and now, and those they didn't have CD and the president pulled out a cassette. And now, Gurudev will release this cassette, because the new cassette come out in the mission. Swami Ramananji singing all these Vedic mantras and all that. The new cassette published by Chinmaya Mission, Chinmaya Publication. And now Gurudev will release this cassette. And he shouted, oh God, Gurudev, I will not release any cassette. But nobody informed me that I am supposed to release a cassette here. And I am talking about an audience sitting there behind us of 25,000 people. The people in the back had television, they couldn't see Gurudev. So far they were. They had big screen near them. He shot, and the size of the speakers and all that kind of thing, we were waiting that Azad Maidan, I still remember that playing field. And at the end, Gurudev, that fellow was shattered, to pieces. At the end, when the whole discourse was over and all that kind of thing, that man was still there. Gurudev came and gave him such a hug with such compassion that that fellow forgot, and everybody forgot that he shouted at him. When the Lord and when Gurus do that, they do that to knock out ego, tamas, abhiman, ajnyan. All those things get knocked out in one stroke. And that is only done out of compassion. Why you want to knock out tamas from you? He could just come and give you lecture and go home. But knocks out the tamas, knocks out ajnana, ego and all such things. That this Durgun, which is there throughout the scriptures, Shastras, it comes. That is called Pramad. Pramad is inadvertence. So he knocked out that inadvertence. The president of the nation is the one who has to have the least inadvertence, isn't it? Knocked it out in one stroke. It took 2 hours. From the shouting in the beginning till the hug in the end. He knows also how long it will take. But whatever act that ensues from such a Mahatma, it is done only out of pure compassion. Therefore he calls us Karuna Sagara. And that, like that I could go and tell you a story all night. I told you last night also. But I have to go to Gita now. So many stories. Okay, now, if you are joining us for the first night, I told you, we are saying Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and last night we left it now. The second chapter, around verse number 47 or 48, like that. I'll check now and tell you the number. And what is 47? Yes. Karmanyevadhikaraste 48. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. What is going on here? Yogastha, that yoga word Bhagavan is using here now. He starts using it a few verses behind. He is speaking about karma yoga. So he starts off by giving, in this second chapter, which is a kind of synopsis or summary of the whole Gita, he starts off by speaking about pure jnana, Sankhya he calls it, Sankhya yoga. I have told you from the point of view of Sankhya. Now, Shrinu, you listen, I'm going to tell you from the point of view of yoga, means karma yoga. Meaning to say, and one more thing, we have to use karma yoga to purify our mind, then we will be able to comprehend all this knowledge of Shastras. For the person whose mind is already purified and whose mind is ready and whose mind is fit, he get that jnana, and immediately all his ignorance is removed. Therefore, that is given first. So there will be people like that. And that is the ultimate solution. That is the final solution to the problem, human problem of sorrow and ignorance and all that, right? So he gives that first. But that didn't work for Arjuna. And that wouldn't work for most of the people. That works for great elevated sadhakas. You see? So now he's coming down to our level. And he's telling how to do your work. And last night we saw that. How to do your duty. This is what we are seeing. How to perform our duty. Our duty is to be performed. And the summary comes in this verse. Yogastha kuru karmani. Kuru karmani means do your duty. So how? Yogastha. Yogastha means staying in the state of yoga. Staying in the state of yoga means what? Staying in a dedicative state, if you want to put it like that. Means I'm doing this work for Bhagavan. So I'm dedicating my work to Bhagavan. What we stay in a selfish state all the time. I'm doing this work and we don't count how much money we are getting. We already count the money because we count the hours, we count the money, and we count how many days left before payday. All this counting going on in the head. See, we counted how many hours you work, how much money will accrue because of those hours, and how much will go for NIS, and that counting going up in the head. Then, going on in the head. Then we counting how many days left for payday. Right? That's the first part. Then, after that, we don't count how much you spend in what already. But this going there and that going there. So we work in only for this single being. We're working selfishly only to full we belly. We're trying to eke out a living, eke out a piece of the pie for my own subsistence, regardless of anybody else, and even to the detriment of anybody else. That is how human beings live. That is called selfish, worldly, materialistic, animalistic existence. Because that is what the animals do. You think when the bird get up in the morning and going to look for a worm, that bird thinking if my neighbor bird will get a worm? No. The bird, that's why the early bird catches the, who come late? So we using the animal example for our own life also. For our own life, we using the animal example. What is that? You get up early and go and get before your neighbor get. So if your neighbor again, what happened? He lay dead. That's animal philosophy. So Bhagavan is talking about an elevated humanistic outlook on life when he introduces this karma yoga. And the first person, yoga stha. You dedicate your action to the world. Means dedicated to Bhagavan, means dedicated to the world. Swami Vivekananda used to say, if you want to find God, serve man. So it is God who has manifested as all beings in this world. So we have to be thinking about all beings and things. And as a fact, this thing should ripple throughout all our activities and actions. Every day I keep, those of you who drive me, different people will be driving me here. I'll be talking one thing in everybody's car only. You'll see this driver, totally selfish in his driving. That indicates the type of personality. Totally selfish in his driving because he doesn't care about anybody else on the road. He only cares about himself. Every action will indicate what is there in our heart. He doesn't care. There are 25 people behind him. Some of them going to the airport. He stops in the middle of the road to take a passenger, drop passenger, and he has a place on the side. If there is no space on the side, then we say, okay, the poor fella, he has to make a living. Where you go stop? Man, this is Trinidad. He stopped in the middle of he mean to say, I block in everybody. Or whoever is behind me, I couldn't care less about. Who have to go to the airport, who have to go here, go there. Some person sick, they have to go in the hospital. I couldn't care less. Tamas! Inside. Total tamas. And that tamas keeps one buried in selfishness. This is where we are. So every single action of ours is a clear indication of what is inside. Everything we're doing, we're supposed to, there's a yoga sthakuru karmani. The karmani was any karma. It's plural of karma. If for the grammar, karmani is plural of karma. Any karma you're doing. You're cooking, you're washing, you're talking. It should always be dedicated. If I'm doing it for the benefit of others. Therefore, if nobody is going to get benefit, keep quiet then. That also, you see, how it should guide every one of our actions. There are some people, when they start talking, can get a word inside. So I would try to say, but wait now, let me finish. You can't get a word edgewise, we say. Everything should be guided by this principle. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. Dhananjaya, giving up, and sangam tyaktva in the next phrase means giving up all attachment or insistence on any result. You do your karma and let Bhagavan take care of the result. A human being have to work to get this proficiency in this art which is being spoken about here. I tell you, you will know when you get proficiency in this art. How? For young people. For adults, I don't know. I will tell you this now. Let me think about it. For young people, when you finish write the exam and you're handing that paper, you forget that you even write the exam. If you could do that, and even when the result comes, if you could do that, I mean you have perfected the because what? The exam done right. Where you go change again now? Eh? What you go do after that? You could change the mark. People imagine all kind of things. One man tell me, Swamiji, when I call home, then I get the answer. I wish I could have come out from your body You see here? I wish I could come out from my body and creep into that professor room and take my paper and change the answer. They give any action and thing to it. When you finish, do that thing. You see, that is how you will know that you're really dedicating this action. Finish the action, and what the result be? Let it be. Mentally, put, you know, what comes to my mind. Have you seen these magicians on stage? They just put some woman in a box, lie down like that, right? And then they take a sharp kind of plate thing, and they push it down right by the neck. And I think going down here, not the neck separate from she, body and all. There should be a sharp separation like this between your action and the result. You put that, this is the action. What the result, let it. But in our mind, we go on having a strong connection between this action and insistence on a certain result. And the nature of the world is, we don't know what the result will be. That is in the hands of Bhagwan. So when that result comes, we should say, oh, Bhagwan only gave. That's called Prasada Buddhi. This is also part of Karma Yoga. So I am not attached to that Sangam Tyaktva. This is what we phrase here. I am not attached to that result. Let it be. Bhagwan, let it. Jo hua so, ab jo hoga so, hoga. Let it be. Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya. Siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva. Whether we achieve or didn't achieve. Another way of saying this, you get joy in just doing the action. I'm so happy to be doing this. I get a good opportunity to do this thing. What the result will be, let it be. I get an opportunity. I do it. I'm happy too bad to do. That is all. Let me tell you something. I'm practicing this years, Yeah. But I teach in Gita. Who learn, who don't learn? If I insist on you learn, I never come back here. You see what I mean? I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. I don't know how many years now they're telling every day. How many years I teaching all of these things? You know who learn and who? Really, I don't know. I get opportunity to do my guru work. I'm so happy to do that thing. That type of thing. I still practicing it. Don't go and tell anybody. He's a master in that thing and all that kind of. Siddhya samabhutva samatvam yoga. This samatvam is, people learn, people don't learn. You maintain your balance and do what you are. Kuru karmani, do your work. He continues to glorify this karma yoga now seriously. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama,
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 Purena Javaram Karma Buddhi Yoga Dhananjaya
शरणं मम
बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ कृपणाफलहेतवः
श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम
बुद्धियुक्तोऽतीह उभे सुकृते
श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम
तस्माद्योगाय युज्यस्व योगकर्मसु कौशलम्
श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम
कर्मजम्बुधियुक्ताहि हरं त्यक्त्वमहीनः
श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम
जन्मबन्धविनिर्मुक्ताः पदं गच्छन्त्यनामयम्
श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम
यदा तेन मोहकवीनं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति
श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम
तदा गन्धासि निर्वेदं श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च
श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम
वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। दूरेण ह्यवरं कर्म बुद्धियोगात् धनञ्जय बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ कृपणाफलहेतवः। I want you to pay attention to this verse because this verse will give rise to a question in the third chapter. Arjuna's question that begins the third chapter is because of this verse. So what Bhagavan is saying in this verse, see here now. He says, my dear Arjuna, Buddhi Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, Durena hi avaram karma. Karma is avaram. Avaram means base, low, mean, that kind of thing. Low. Avaram. And it's not simply avaram, durena avaram. By far, by far karma is low and mean and base and like that. Durena. Then what? Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means Sankhya Yoga, knowledge. Karma, you have to see the words also. When I tell you, it's wonderful. He gives the words he chooses and all. When we start thinking about them, we'll bring so many questions and when we are able to answer all of those questions, everything will become clear. He chooses the right words in the right places, everything like that. Karma is way inferior. Inferior word, that inferior than knowledge. Just to summarize the whole thing. Karma is way inferior than knowledge. Therefore Arjuna will ask, Bhagavan, if you say in third chapter, if you say karma so inferior than knowledge, why are you telling me to do the karma then? That is the question, you see? So Bhagavan is using the words and all the right questions will come. When you answer those questions, things will start becoming more and more clear. This is amazing thing. Karma is way inferior to knowledge. Huh? Then the next line, Buddhau sharanam anvichha kripana phala hetavaha. You take refuge in knowledge. Take refuge in knowledge. Naturally, Arjuna will have that question then. Why are you telling me to do this terrible karma? Take refuge in knowledge. Buddhau sharanam anvichha kripana phala hetavaha. Those who hanker over results, hanker over fruits and results and things in this world, selfishly pursue results in this world only, they are kripana. Kripana means miserly, stingy, conjuice, makhichus, all the kind of words. Makhichus, you know? Makhichus. Makhi means fly. Makhichus means that man is so stingy. When the fly fall along in the milk, he take out the fly, suck out the milk, and throw away the fly after that. Makhichus. It means even that milk will stick up in the leg of the fly. Here, one drop milk. All your blood crawling when I tell you. That also is not a good guna. Because Bhagavan is not fly too. You see? No, I'm telling you that is true thing. When the more and more you realize the omnipresence of God, this thing also will not make your blood crawl. If your blood crawling, that means you have a lot of work to do. That is true thing. It's a one measure also. Like when you see a snake or a frog, what do you do? When you see that frog, I'm talking about trained, I didn't people, all you. When you see that frog, especially now when you go home in the little dark and thing, right? And you reach home there and you park your car by near the garage and you come out. Well, that frog come there because there was a light there, you completely fly. And tonight you step on him. Well, you have to jump and you see? But the more and more you identify with all things, like how Lord Shiva will sit there with snakes on his neck, you see? Let them poor fellow want to crawl somewhere, let her crawl. It is one of the anyway. So kripana, those people who are hankering over worldly things, they are kripana. They are miserly. The more a person hankers over worldly things, the more he is miserly. Miserly means a miser, means stingy. Stingy. In Trinidad, they have all kind of word for that. I forget them now, but they have plenty. I know that now. Stingy fella. In countryside, people never say stingy, they say mingy. Eh? Mingy. Mingy means anything? Same thing. Stingy. So, there, now, to go back to the philosophical side of the verse, I want you to see this now. There's a big question there. Bhagavan says karma is so inferior to knowledge, right? So what he means to say is selfish karma. Because he didn't use the word karma yoga. When the karma is done selflessly for the benefit of others, that is called karma yoga. When the karma is done selfishly, only for me, I only care about myself, that is called a karma. So that thing is inferior. Because that, just now I told you, that's how the animals live. When the animal go out to feed in the morning, the animal going to full who belly? He's certainly not going to full the neighbor belly. The animal only going to full his own belly. The cow go out and feed it fully belly and come back. Didn't bring any grass home for the bacha or the other cows. Right? only full their own belly. Because the animal kingdom is designed to live selfishly. A human being, because he's given the intellect, has a choice whether I will live selfishly or selflessly. The intellect affords that privilege of deciding whether I will live like the animal or live like Bhagwan. Because Bhagwan is absolutely selfless. So the human being is right there on the fulcrum of creation. And the fulcrum is where things are balanced. Nah? You could go this side or that side. The human being stands on the fulcrum of existence. He has a choice to go back into the animal side or choice to go into the divine side. That person, if he chooses to do his actions for the benefit of humanity, he is now leaning on the divine side. That time his actions become karma yoga. It will bring him to God. Karma yoga will lead us to God. Karma will lead us to Bhagavan will tell later on, we'll see. The animal kingdom. We'll be born as animals. Because if I live my whole life just like an animal, then what was the benefit of having lived in a human body? There was no benefit. You spend the whole life living just like the animals. Tamas. So if people who die as tamasic people will go into, he says, what you call animal species. So, he's telling Arjuna, therefore Arjuna, Buddhau Sharanamandi. You take refuge to this understanding of your place in the universe. Take, Buddha means understanding. Take refuge in this understanding and let every one of your action be accompanied by the right attitude, an attitude of dedicated service. Let that attitude accompany your actions. When you have understood your place in creation or in existence, and you have accompanied your actions by the right attitude of dedication, your actions will transform your life and bring you closer to reality. This is called Buddha Sharama. You're taking refuge to an understanding. Previously, you're taking refuge to an instinct. But animals live by instinct. You have to outlive the instinct and now take refuge in understanding, because we have been provided with an intellect. It is only the intellect that can take us further. You see, we evolve to the point of the intellect. Prakriti has given us the intellect in that evolutionary journey. And after Prakriti has given the intellect, Prakriti has dropped us. Now, from there, you have to make your journey by yourself. So you could choose to go back or move forward. The Prakriti has not given an intellect to the animals, so Prakriti takes care of the animals. No bird goes hungry. No bird goes hungry. You ever hear any animal die from hunger? He'll get food. See human beings, how many die from hunger every day? How much of poverty? Famine. How much human beings? This will be great trouble for ourselves. Half of the world, they're throwing away half of the food. And the next half scavenging food from the dump. There are children all over this world. You have to do a little bit of traveling, you'll see that. Children all over this world getting their daily meal from the dump. That happens right here too. This human being. But that bird will never, I never see a bird die from hunger. I'm so hungry, tap, dead. Prakriti provides for that bird. That many nice stories. But anyway, this is the point where, therefore Bhagavan is telling, take refuge in that intellectual understanding and transform your actions from mere karma into karma yoga. That can be done by understanding only. A proper understanding must accompany. And I gave the rationale for karma yoga and all in previous lectures. The rationale is the whole universe is taking care of you. Therefore, you have a duty to take care of the whole universe. Whole universe taking care of us. Every tree, the air, the sun, everything taken care of. All of us. Buddhi yuktaha jahatiha uve sukrita dushkriti. Now this is a seed with the Lord. I told you here he's giving all the basic seminal ideas. Ideas in their rudimentary state, which he's going to develop later on. Here's another one. What is that? He's talking about sukrita and dushkrita uve jahati. Jahati means drop. Drop sukrita and dushkrita. When people read Bhagavad Gita like this, they get scared. Give up both good and bad actions. You mean good action too? So now see what is very strong. And this will come in 9th chapter, and again come in 13th chapter, we'll again talk about it. Sukrita and dushkrita. Sukrita means that which is done well. Krita means done. The past participle of krit in Sanskrit means to do. So krita means done. Sukrita, done well. Dushkrita, opposite. Do it so bad. Like when somebody come and paint your house. Dushkrita. One fella going to see a man standing in front of the house. He says, "Sir, I have no job, no food, no money, no nothing. So please give me some work now." So the man feels sorry for him. He said, "All right, I'll give you $100. Go in the back and paint my porch." Give him paint and brush and things. Fella go on in the back, paint it and come back. Collecting $100. He said, "But before I leave, I must tell you, it wasn't a Porsche, it was a Corvette." Paintbrush and paint the man Corvette. But did this man fall too? He didn't go any back to see where the man painting? Anyway, so they're called dushkrita. Done really badly. Have you ever painted a car with a paintbrush? So in this world, we have what we call as sukrita and dushkrita. The other way to see that is, we do good actions and we do bad actions. We call it sukrita and dushkrita. What is being said in the Buddha? Bhagavan telling Arjuna, drop both sukrita and dushkrita. Both. So the idea here is, well, numerous ideas. See, actually, if I go on to explain all of this now, I'll be jumping the gun. Jumping the gun, you know that this thing will come and I have to go into detail. But please see the goal of Bhagavad Gita. The goal of Bhagavad Gita is not for us to do good actions or bad actions. The goal of Bhagavad Gita is to do our actions and dedicate it to the Lord. That is the goal. Do whatever. Because for example, Arjuna is in this case, he's in the army and his duty is to shoot and kill other people. But for some people, that is bad action. So if you start trying to define action as good and bad, well, you will get yourself in some trouble. You know why? Because coming to this substance tonight also will be bad. If you just do some thinking. You want to show you how? Let me just show you. One little example I'll give you. Every day, every single day, big multi-trillion dollar companies are drilling miles into the earth and taking out trillions of barrels of crude oil, and they are pumping sodium bromide under the earth. Sodium bromide, which is just fine on the surface of the earth, they are pumping it below the earth, and hydrocarbons, which are just simple under the earth, they are taking it out and spewing it into the atmosphere in trillions of barrels every single day. And just imagine what imbalance we are causing on the earth on which we are living. And you, by just driving here today to this satsang, you contributed to that whole thing. Just by coming here today, you contributed to this great destruction of the earth. And drop by drop, the bucket does full, isn't it? If you start thinking about what is good action and what is bad action, there is no end to that. That will come in the 18th chapter. So every action is tainted. So in Bhagavad Gita, there is no such thing as determining what is good action and what is bad action. You just take a general guidance. You just take a general guidance that is given in religion, in the preliminary parts of religion and all that. But I should do this and I should not do that. Just take that general guidance and continue. And Bhagavan is saying, don't try to determine what is good action, what is bad action and all that kind of thing. Listen now, the fellow who is the hangman, who would have pulled the platform, right? He doing good action or bad action? But he's saving all of us from criminal. It's good or bad now? One fellow went to fill out a form for a job. So they asked, what's your father's name and all family details, and that his father will hang for some crime. So they asking details about his father now. So he had to put that there now. They hang his father for some crime. But I ain't looking good on his resume, or what you call it, form. So he gone by a lawyer. He's asking the lawyer some advice. He will tell me what to write here now. That won't look good if I write that, you know. My father will hang for some crime. The lawyer said, right there. Oh, that's how your father died. That was it. Right there. My father was participating in a public function when the platform gave way. Very good, man. So the world has, from ordinary standpoint, we consider some action to be good, some bad, and all that kind of thing. But really, if you dig into it, you will not be able to define good and bad action. So yes, Sukrita and Dushkrita, you forget about this. But Buddhau Sharanam Diksha. You take recourse to the understanding that I have this body, mind, intellect. I have been given a little duty. I am doing this duty and I am dedicating it to Bhagwan. This is a revolutionary spiritual principle which is coming to the world for the first time in the history of human civilization. And it came thousands of years ago and it is still alive today, alive and kicking very well, all because of the great work of our Puja Gurudev also, who revived this thing. You will not hear this thing anywhere. Absolutely revolutionary and foolproof also. So you go on trying to determine anything about actions like that. No. Ubhe, Sukrita and Dushkrite, Jahati. Buddhi Yuktaha, taking refuge to a higher understanding about this world. There are so many things which you will not understand. You just understand from the Gita that you have to dedicate your actions to Bhagavan. Tasmad yoga yujasva yoga karmasu kaushala. This is called a skill in action. People will feel a skill is really, this man could make this, whatever he's making, the pot maker. You make that pot so... One fellow used to make murti. He could make murti so good that if he make a murti of you, nobody will be able to tell the difference between you and a murti. So they say, well, that is skill in action. That man could make that murti so good. So a Mahatma was passing, so they tell him in this village, this fellow, he could make that murti so good. You can't distinguish between the real person and the murti. So that Mahatma said, well, all they're calling that skill, but I want to go and test and see really if it is skill. So he went and meet that murti maker. He said, everybody in the village saying, oh, you have so much of skill, I came to see your skill. So the murti maker said, yeah, nobody could make this thing better than me, man. So the Mahatma said, all right, I want you to make a murti of yourself. And I go check myself to see if it has any difference between two of you. So Talas said, okay, no problem, I'll do it. Mahatma said, how long you will take? He said, 1 week. All right, I'm coming back after a week. Salam made a murti of himself, exact replica. So the Mahatma came. Said, okay, I'm going to stand on one side of this murti. You go outside. Tell the Mahatma, I'm going to stand on one side of this murti. You come back after 1 minute. And I want you to watch and see which is me and which is the murti. The Mahatma himself couldn't tell which is he and which is that murti. But from all of that, how you determine skill in action? I see, this is how the world thinks about skill, and this is the skill which is referred to in Bhagavad Gita. They are two different things. The Mahatma said at that point, yes, the two are identical. But the murti has a defect. The moment he said the word defect, the murti make a jump away. What is defect? He said, that is a defect. And what we call a skill in action is this thing. If ego is there in the making, that is not skill in action. What is being spoken about here is, if ego is there, it is not skill in action. Egolessness is skill in action. Because in egolessness, when I empty myself, the divine hands get an opportunity to flow into me and flow through those hands and bring about what we call a divine dispensation. That is skill in action. And if I shut out the divinity and my ego is working, well, no ego is perfect. You know that, right? Nobody is perfect. So the ego will be working through those hands and it will never bring 100% proficiency, efficiency and skill. It is a limited ego working with a limited goal, limited vision. So it will not be skill. That is not skill in Bhagavad Gita. You see? So, he said, yoga karmasu kaushalam. Skill in action is yoga. When I am able to remove that ego and do selflessly. So there are all these things going back to selflessly again. From how many point of view is selflessly or selfless activity is being talked about in this Bhagavad Gita. Karmajam buddhi yuktahi phalam tyaktva manishinaha. Manishinaha means wise people. Wise. What they do, phalam tyaktva, they renounce results. Wise people, and with the understanding in their intellect, buddhi yukta, karmajam phalam tyaktva, giving up all results. Janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantya namayam. They make themselves fit and ready for the supreme state. Padam means supreme state. Make themselves ready for the supreme state. Yadate moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotapyasya shrotasya cha. That when yadate moha kalilam, when you have become freed from this quagmire or the great entanglement of moha, delusion, ignorance, of this Maya which we are living, when you have become free, buddhir vyatitarishyati, and you have crossed beyond the pale of buddhi even, intellect also, crossed beyond, tada agantasi nirvedam, then know that you have come to this supreme state and you have accomplished all that which is Shrotavyam and Shrutasya cha, which have been heard, or ought to be heard, and which have been heard. All that. It means to say, all the Shastras and all that kind of thing would really bear fruit in you at that time, when you have followed this principle of Karma Yoga and true understanding, and you have transcended even the intellect. You will go beyond all that which is to be heard and which is not yet heard. Now, before Arjuna is going to ask a question now. The obvious question would have been the one we just talked about, right? But he'll ask that in 3rd chapter. He asked another question now, because Bhagavan is talking about those people who have transcended, who have gone beyond the gunas, those who have gone beyond all this worldly entanglement. Before that, Bhagavan gives one last verse. Shruti vipratipannate
Shruti vipratipannate
yada sthasyati nischala
Yarastasyati nishala
samadhavachala buddhihi
Samadhavachala buddhihi
ayogamavapsyasi
Tada yogamavapsyasi
ayogamavapsyasi
Tada yogamavapsyasi
Shruti vipratipannate yada sthasyati nischala. When you are able to keep the mind steady, balanced, and don't worry about all of these things. These all things are going to come back again in 6th chapter in detail. When you are able to keep the mind, means learn the Shastras, study the Shastras well, and keep the mind steady, calm, unmoving. Sthasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhi, and the intellect is able to remain in a state of pure balance, equilibrium. Tada yogam avapsyasi. Then you know that you have reached the state of yoga. Yoga ends in that. In other words, karma yoga or jnana yoga, they end in the same, and that will come again also. Yeah. The seedlings are being planted here. Arjuna asked this question. Oh, you're talking about a person who has transcended Maya and transcended ignorance and this and that, right? That person is called as Sthita Prajna. He is established in that reality beyond this world. I want to know how that fellow walks and talks and lives and eats and sleeps. How he carries about himself. How does he live in this world? I want to know that. Bhagavan said, yes, I'll tell you that tomorrow.